All right, so today we're going deep on something, something most people don't really love thinking about.
Yeah.
Long-term care.
It's not the most exciting topic, is it?
Not exactly party conversation,
Yeah.
but, it's about needing help with, basic stuff someday.
Right, the everyday things.
Exactly, like getting dressed, cooking, things we take for granted now,
But might struggle with later, and that's where long-term care comes in.
and we've got some really interesting material to go through today. What struck me is, we always think, oh, that's for when I'm old.
Right, like it's a grandma and grandpa thing.
Exactly. But these sources are saying accidents, illnesses.
They don't discriminate.
They really don't. It could be any of us at any time.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about long-term care. It's not just about age, it's about being prepared for the unexpected.
Exactly.
Or,
And preparing for that financial hit. Because, man, the numbers in these sources, they were kind of scary.
yeah, a bit eye-watering. Something like 7 out of 10 people over 65 will need some form of long-term care.
7 out of 10. That's most of us.
It is. And the costs, they can be astronomical. One of the sources mentioned a nursing home stay averaging over $100,000 a year.
A
A
year?
year. So, imagine that hitting your savings, or even worse, your family having to bear that burden.
It's a huge burden. It's making me think we spend so much time worrying about saving for retirement, but maybe not enough about this kind of thing.
You're right. We often overlook that piece of the puzzle, but there are ways to prepare. One of the things that came up a lot in the sources was long-term care insurance.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. To be honest, it always seemed a bit confusing to me.
It can be, there's no doubt about it. Lots of different options, different policies. But the basic idea is it's a way to transfer some of that risk.
Transfer the risk. How so?
Well, you pay a premium, right? And then if you need long-term care down the road, the insurance company will cover some or all of the costs, depending on your policy.
So it's like a safety net.
Exactly.
Right.
It can help cover things like in-home care, assisted living, even nursing home care. It really depends on your needs and the specific policy.
Okay, so that makes sense, but I'm guessing it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Not at all. Everyone's situation is different. You need to think about, how long you might need care for, what kind of care you might need, what the costs are in your area.
And how much you can afford to pay for the premiums, I imagine.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance, and it's something you should really start thinking about sooner rather than later.
Before you need it.
Exactly. One of the sources had this really compelling example of a woman named Jane. She was in her 50s and decided to get a long-term care policy.
Hey, yeah, I remember that.
Right. So fast forward to her late 70s, she develops dementia and needs in-home care.
And that care is expensive, like we were
Yep.
talking about.
It is, yeah. Around $150 a day, according to the source. But because Jane had that policy, she was able to stay in her home, receive the care she needed, and it didn't completely wipe out her savings.
That's huge. Not just for her, but for her family, too. I mean, we hear all the time about families being overwhelmed by the cost of long-term care.
It's a very real problem. But Jane's story shows that, planning ahead can make a world of difference. It's about protecting your independence and giving your loved ones peace of mind.
That's a good way to put it, peace of mind. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Having a plan in place so that you can face whatever challenges come your way and knowing that you've done everything you can to protect yourself and your family.
I couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power, right? And simply by taking the time to explore this with us today, you've already taken that first step.
It's a step we all need to take. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this isn't something to be afraid of. It's about being informed, having those conversations, and making a plan that works for you.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a thought. What's one small step you can take today to learn more about your own long-term care needs?
Right. Maybe it's doing some online research, talking to a financial advisor, even just having a conversation with your family.
Yeah.
Every journey starts with a single step.
Well said.
And if you're looking for someone to help you navigate the world of insurance, I highly recommend reaching out to Helen Hou. She's an insurance specialist who can answer all your questions and help you find the right coverage for your needs. Her number is 408-909-5865. Give her a call and tell her we sent you.
Great advice.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.